Enterprise Management 360.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Tech Chat. Now in today's episode, I'm going to be speaking with Greg Ouillon, who is the CTO EMEA at New Relic. So Greg, welcome to the show and thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you, Max. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, wherever you are.
Where everyone is in the world, yes, welcome to the show. And Greg, thank you so much for coming on today. And before we delve into the questions and today's topic matter, would you mind just giving a little background on yourself and New Relic?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Greg. I'm the field CTO for Europe, Middle East, and Africa at New Relic. I've got a long experience of developing IT services globally for aviation and telco. And all along my career, I've been using monitoring and observability. I was actually a customer of New Relic. And New Relic is a leader in what we call observability as a service. So we provide SaaS services since 2008 that help companies manage the health and performance of their digital systems in real time.
Excellent stuff. A perfect kind of description there. I like that. And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing observability, which is obviously fitting, and why it represents far more than a buzzword for digital businesses in 2021. And Greg, I wanted to kind of start off here because obviously looking through the New Relic website, it points out that observability is not a fancy synonym for monitoring. So in your own words, what is observability and how does it compare to standard monitoring in terms of fundamental components and really its overall purpose?
I'll start with monitoring if you don't mind, because monitoring has been there since there are IT systems. Monitoring is all about the ability to monitor a few predetermined signals out of your IT stack and be able to understand when an event occurs that requires your attention, pretty much. It fit with traditional IT systems that were monolithic, a few components. Those components were released from a software standpoint only a few times a year, so fairly stable, and they ran on a static architecture. You had a few servers, you could name them Bob and Jenny, and then you would scale them up vertically. So monitoring was used by a few experts, and they usually happen in components of the stack. I'm monitoring the network, I'm monitoring storage, I'm monitoring the DB. So fairly siloed, fairly isolated, and fairly focused on detecting issues through alerts. The world has changed a lot recently. Now software has become much more complex, fragmented, multiple components of open source, cloud PaaS, developed by multiple DevOps teams and deployed on cloud container architecture. So a lot of volatility, and monitoring does not work anymore in that context. So observability is about the ability to instrument all of your stack, your infrastructure component, your hosts, your containers, your Kubernetes clusters, all of your software and middleware, your load balancers, message queues, databases, and your application itself, and also the digital experience through browser and mobile or the use of synthetics, and even business data. You bring all that telemetry in one place so that you correlate it, you turn it into insights, and then people can visualize that data, interrogate that data, create alerts on the data, and troubleshoot their system and manage the performance from that data, end-to-end and full stack. So you move from understanding that you have a problem and when, to understanding how your system behaves holistically, what the dependencies are in your system, and if there is an issue, why, much quicker.
Excellent. So it really, as you said, it provides that kind of full view from start to finish, which is so important. And I wanted to, delve into that full stack a little bit more. So why is observability and, talking about the full stack element really now more important than ever for digital businesses, and who and what does it benefit?
First, agility and speed, velocity, the ability to react to market demand, customer needs, crisis, pandemics, competition very quickly. So the cycle of development has accelerated a lot, and you need to be able to manage the stability of your system as you cycle much often. The second imperative is user experience. I think now for the last 10 years, we stopped selling services and products, we sell experience, right? And it is absolutely paramount. You need to understand that experience. And the base of that is obviously to deliver availability, reliability, and performance, which are absolute basic foundational components of experience. And then there is scaling and efficiency. I want to expand my business to move to multiple regions. I want to scale because of COVID, so I need to go all digital, and I need my teams to be more efficient, do more with less every day. So observability has become paramount because it brings people together around a unified view of their architecture, of the performance of their system end to end. So they can attribute issues much quicker. Where does it fit? Where is the issue in my stack? They can understand correlations between their components of their stack, infrastructure to application or microservice to microservice. So they can develop a deep understanding of how their system behaves nominally. And when they see deviations to that performance or behavior, they can very quickly troubleshoot and understand what's going on. So yeah, I would say the benefits are less incidents, moving from reactive incident management to performance management and proactive, and then going into continuous improvement through data-driven culture. You can have service level indicators of your architecture. You're going to build service level objectives, and then your teams can cycle through continuous improvements all the time. And because they have less incidents and they resolve them much faster, then they can spend much more time on developing new stuff or doing value-added activities as well.
Amazing. So important. All of those elements you just mentioned there are integral for a lot of businesses. When we talk about the end user element of all of this, it's all very much now, isn't it? I need to see everything in real time. I need to understand what's going on, and with good reason. But does that bring challenges from your end with this kind of I need everything in real time? I've got that expectation very high. How does this work from kind of an implementation element? Do you ever see any issues from that side of things?
Well, the first thing is a lot of companies have tried to grow their observability stack organically. They started with logs or with a bit of infrastructure monitoring. They started to instrument a bit of open source with Prometheus and we often meet with customers who are just hitting the limits of that, because after a while, it takes a lot of effort to actually stitch all that data together in real time. It takes skills, and sometimes you want to have your people do more value-added things. Yeah, my recommendation to most of the customers is to consider the value that they will get from a platform which brings all their data together. It unifies people around a same shared view of what's happening in their stack. So it's a huge boost for collaboration because people now share the same truth. Most of the companies that we work with initially had multiple teams using multiple tools, and tools amplify silos. Each team have their own view of the world, and they tend to easily disagree with the other one about what's going on. So what we see is often the many different teams come to observability depending on their initial driver. So it could be typically head of IT ops who wants to improve his mean time to repair and mean time to detect. So more traditional, I have big issues and I need to solve them. It could be what we see more and more, a head of infrastructure and platform. So someone who's modernizing both the approach to providing a self-service cloud, on-prem architecture, maybe some CI/CD pipeline, and also observability. So somehow somebody who delivers the shared common goods for the company. What we see obviously is that observability is often managed by the SRE team, the famous site reliability engineering team. These are the people who are in between ops, dev, infra, who understand the service, who understand service performance, availability, and performance. And so they are a good fit to be the owners of observability, obviously. And sometimes this is the head of DevOps as part of his CI/CD pipeline. He wants to make sure that when developers ship code, they ship code instrumented, so that it's not an afterthought. Observability is not an afterthought deployed by ops. It's really, if I ship code, it has to report telemetry so that I can measure my code. What I see most of the time is a key driver of success for observability is that everybody has access. It should not be the privilege of a happy few to get access to a specialist tool, because it just doesn't change anything then. They will do their job slightly better or much better, but it will not create that sense of transverse collaboration. So observability is about everybody accessing the same data. Then they can build their own dashboards and their own specific views, but there also has to be, my key recommendation is SREs should work with all the teams, product, dev, ops, infra, on a finite set of indicators that will unite the company around the best view of their system end to end. Avoid having too many KPIs, too many SLOs. Try to align your teams around the few ones that will have everybody aligned on the same stack. And if you get that, then it becomes hugely effective.
Yeah, becomes effective, becomes easier, and as you can say, that rollout, they will see the results, because it's having that access and having that availability for everyone allows them to get on with other stuff and really push the company forward. So I think that's a perfect way of explaining it. Greg, all I can say is thank you very much for coming on this week's episode of Tech Chat and walking us through all of this. It's been great chatting with you.
Yes, thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Greg. And thank you, everyone who took the time to watch this episode. We hope you took a lot away. And if you are looking for more information around observability, then you can head on over to newrelic.com. There's some fantastic resources out there. And I'm sure they've got some members of their team who will be happy to answer any of your questions. We'll be back next week with another episode in our Tech Chat series. Until then, you can join the conversation at EM360 Tech on Twitter and LinkedIn. Subscribe to this YouTube channel to be in the know of all the latest videos. And for great daily content, head on over to em360tech.com.